Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama Rama Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare.
Srila Prabhupada ke. Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur ke. Shri Radha Radhanath ke. Shri Giri Govardhana ke. Shri Caitanya Mahaprabhu ke. Go Premanande. Haribol, Haribol, Haribol. Oops. Yes. So devotees. Oh.
Okay. Hare Krishna, everybody. Welcome to this wonderful program, the Disappearance Day of Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur. And we're very greatly fortunate to have His Holiness Bhakti Caitanya Swami Maharaj with us.
Hare Krishna.
As is true to the sannyas ashram, they don't stay in one place for too long. So Maharaj has been traveling, and last we had his darshan at Botswana, but prior to that he's been overseas.
I'll be here for another 45 minutes.
And so we're very happy that Maharaj is here, and we are looking forward to learning and hearing from Maharaj. So after Maharaj speaks, there will be the Artik, midday Arti. Then we'll do the Pushpa Puja for Bhaktivinoda Thakur. And at 1 o'clock, prasadam will be served today. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So we're going to sing the song which is there, right? It's there. This is called Saparshada Bhagavad Viraha Janita Vilap, which means lamentation due to separation from the Lord and His associates. It is written by Srila Narottam Das Thakur, one of our very great poets in Krishna consciousness in our line. And today is the Disappearance Day of Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, another very, very great devotee in our line, the father of Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati, who was the spiritual master of our Srila Prabhupada. So I will just run through this song, just so we know what we're singing. Hare Krishna, thank you. Just so hopefully we'll be able to remember and know what we're singing. So the first verse, Ye anilo premadana karuna prachur, He no Prabhu kota gela acharya Thakur, which means, he who brought the treasure of divine love and who was filled with compassion and mercy, where has such a personality as Srinivas Acharya gone? And verse 2, Kaha Mora Swarup Rupa, Kaha Sanatan, Kaha Dasa Raghunatha Patita Pavan. Where are my Swarup Damodar and Rupa Goswami? Where is Sanatan? Where is Raghunath Das, the savior of the fallen? You've probably worked out that Kaha means where. So these devotees have left this world already at the time that Narottam Das Thakur wrote the song. And he's lamenting that he no longer has their association. And then verse 3, Kaha Mora Bhatta Yuga, Kaha Kaviraj, Ekakale Kotagela, Gora Nataraj. Where are my Raghunath Bhatta and Gopal Bhatta? And where is Krishnadas Kaviraj? Where did Lord Gauranga, the great dancer, suddenly go? And verse 4. I see, okay. Anyway, verse 4. Pashane Kotibo Mata, Anale Pashibo, Gauranga gunera nidhi kota gele pabo. I will smash my head against rock and enter into fire. Where will I find Lord Gauranga, the reservoir of all wonderful qualities? And verse 5, Se sabasangira sange, ye koelo bilas, Se sanga napaya kande, narota madas. Being unable to obtain the association of Lord Gauranga, accompanied by all of these devotees in whose association he performed his pastimes, Narottam Das simply weeps. So these are the translations of the verses which we'll now sing. Because on the disappearance days of the great acharyas, great devotees, we sing the song. This is our normal practice. Ye anilo premadana karuna pracho premadana karuna pracho ye anilo premadana karuna pracho Heno Prabhu Kota Gela Acharya Thakur Kota Gela Acharya Thakur Heno Prabhu Kota Gela Acharya Kahamora Swarupa Kajanata Kamora Swarupa Kasanata Kahamora Swarupa Kasanata Kahadasa Ragonata Patita Papa Kahadasa Ragonata Patita Papa Kahamora Pata Yoga Kakaviraj Kahamora Pata Yoga Kahakaviraj Ekakale kotagela Goranatarat. Ekakale kotagela Goranatarat. Pashane kotiba mata Anele pashipo Pashane kotiba mata Anele pashipo Goranga gonela mede Kota gele papo Goranga gonela mede Kota gele papo Se sabasangira sange Ye kolopilas Se sabasangira sange Ye kolopilas Se sangana paya kandela rotamadas Se sangana paya kandela rotamadas Ye anilo premadana Karuna pracho Ye anilo premadana Karuna pracho Eno Prabhu Kata Gela Acharya Thakuras Eno Prabhu Kata Gela Acharya Thakuras Jai Vaishnava Thakur, Jai Vaishnava Thakur, Vaishnav Thakur, Jai Vaishnav Thakur. Jai Vaishnav Thakur, Jai Vaishnav Thakur. Vaishnav Thakur, Jai Vaishnav Thakur. Srila Bhaktivinoda, Srila Bhaktivinoda, Bhaktivinoda, Srila Bhaktivinoda. Srila Bhaktivinoda, Srila Bhaktivinoda, Bhaktivinoda, Srila Bhaktivinoda. Jai Jai Prabhupada, 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 Prabhupada. Jai Jai Prabhupada, 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 Prabhupada. Janspad Pranamahans Aparvrajak Chairas Tadis Sisamad. His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami, Srila Prabhupada Ki, ISKCON Samstapakacharya Srila Prabhupada Ki, Anantakoti Vaishnav Vrinda Ki, Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki, Prem Segahosa Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda, Shri Advaita Gadadha Shivas Adi Gora Bhaktivinoda Ki, Shishi Radha Krishna Gop Gopinath, Shamkund Radhakund Giri Govardhan Ki, Shri Vrindavan Dham Ki, Shri Mayapur Dham Ki, Shri Jagannath Puri Dham Ki, Shri Radha Radhanath Ki, Shri Giri Govardhan Ki, Shri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu Ki, Srila Prabhupada Ki, Gaur Premanande. All glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to Sri Guru and Sri Gauranga. So I'll continue on now by reciting the pranam mantra of Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur. Namo Bhaktivinodaya Satchidananda Namane Gaura Shakti Swarupaya Rupanuga Varayate. The translation is, I offer my respectful obeisances unto Satchidananda Bhaktivinoda, who is the transcendental energy of Caitanya Mahaprabhu. He is a strict follower of the Goswamis, headed by Srila Rupa Goswami. Yes, okay, so now let us talk about Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur initially from the biographical point of view. Let me offer some other prayers first. Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Shrimati Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namane Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharane Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pastyacha Deshatarane Vanchkalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadha Shivas Adi Gora Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So yes, the life and times of Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur are very interesting. He was born in a Kayasta type family. It means basically actually a sort of a Vaishya type of family, really. So he appeared in this world in 1838. And his family, well, it was not such an easy life. There were a lot of financial difficulties and moving here and there and trying to make ends meet when we talk about his parents or his father. But anyway, that was the situation. And born in 1838, then in 1850, at the age of 12, devotees, fasten your seatbelts. At the age of 12, he was married to a 5-year-old girl. Hare Krishna. Such was the practice in those days. Of course, they didn't stay together, etc., until they were adults or young adults, but at least the marriage took place. So he was educated and he was highly intelligent. Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur knew a number of languages. His mother tongue was Bengali, but he was also fluent in English. He was fluent in Persian, which is sort of like the background of Urdu, more or less. And of course, Hindi, Oriya, these were languages which he was fluent in. Yes, so he did very well at school, and particularly because he was very good at English. If you read some of his English books, you'll see he's just very fluent, extremely fluent, which is not easy, really, to pick up a number of languages and really know them well. It's just not easy at all. So while he was still at school, or at least like in high school sort of phase of life, he was noted, you could say. His name was noted down by the British government people, because they particularly liked when the local people could speak English. So he was noted, and an eye was kept on him for advancement in government service. So, interesting point that as a young man means what we just said. He was married in 1850, so in the 1850s and even into the 1860s, he was trying to find out more about Lord Caitanya, and he was trying to locate a copy of Caitanya Charitamrita. Unfortunately, even though it is a Bengali classic, he could not find a copy of Caitanya Charitamrita available to purchase. Couldn't find. In fact, it took him about 15 years to locate a copy of Caitanya Charitamrita. Finally, he found one in 1868 when he was about 30. Well, when he was 30. So he got that copy of Caitanya Charitamrita in Bengali, and he really studied it. Of course, it just shows how deteriorated the Gaudiya Vaishnav culture had become. It's just, anyway, it's like, if you're a Hindi speaker, not being able to find a copy of Mahabharata or Ramayana in Hindi and taking years to find one. So that was the situation. So the way he presents himself, because interesting point, Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, unlike any of our acharyas who at least I'm aware of, he wrote an autobiography, his own story of his life. And the way he presents himself, of course, we understand he's very great associate of the Supreme Personality of Godhead who descended here to push on and really make a really massive contribution to the development of Lord Chaitanya's movement and Lord Krishna's movement. But he presents himself as not being sure what is what, really, when it comes to matters of, the deeper questions of life, of who am I and what should we do in our lives. But at least the way he presents himself, after he got that copy of Caitanya Charitamrita at the age of 30, and he really started studying it in great detail, then he says he became convinced that Lord Chaitanya is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and that chanting the holy names of the Lord is the process for this age of Kali, and that the best service a devotee can do in this age is to help others become Krishna conscious. So he really set to work like that just shortly after he got his Caitanya Charitamrita when he was 30. So in the meantime, though, he did advance in government service. At first they made him a teacher, and he was extremely good at that. Then in 1871, he was made a deputy magistrate. Not that he had, an LLB or B.Proc or whatever people would normally have if they're en route to becoming established in legal practice. But basically he was just expert at English and he was just highly intelligent. So they thought, this is our man, he's going to do the job really well. And he did. He was deputy magistrate, but that was 1871 onwards for some time. So his age then is around about 33. And Srila Prabhupada presented us a fairly detailed presentation of what his program was, his daily schedule was. And devotees, listen to this. At 10 o'clock at night, he would get up. How's that? He wouldn't go to bed. He would get up and light an oil lamp and start writing, translating different scriptures. He did a whole translation and commentary on Caitanya Charitamrita and other literatures, all by hand. Then at 4 o'clock in the morning, what are we meant to do at 4 o'clock in the morning? Anyway, he would take rest, having written through the whole night. Then at 4:30, he would get up. He would take half an hour's rest. He'd wash his hands and face, then he would chant japa. Until 7. At 7 he would write letters, all sorts of letters, some of them government types of communications. Then at 7:30 he would read, he would study some Shastra. Then at 8:30 every morning, if there were some people who wanted to meet him, he would meet them, 8:30. He would receive guests. If there weren't, he would just continue reading. Then devotees, from 9:30 to 9:45, he would take rest again, 15 minutes. At 9:45, he would have his morning bath. 9:45. Then he'd have breakfast of half a quart of milk. I think, perhaps some of you know, half a quart means half a liter, isn't it? Something along those lines. Anyway, however many, what part of a liter it is, it was half a quart. And so his breakfast would be half a quart of milk, a couple of chapatis, just the chapatis, and some fruit. And that would take 10 minutes. Then at 9:55, he would go to the court, being magistrate. He would go to the court because court would begin at 10. And he would wear coat and pants to the court with double-sized tulsi neck beads and tilak. And he was, Prabhupada says, he was very strong in his decisions. He would decide immediately. And Srila Prabhupada makes the point that using sort of part of the English, the form of English, which was used in India in those days, Prabhupada makes the point that he did not allow any humbug in his court. You can perhaps guess what, if you're not familiar with the word, what humbug is. You know, no talking back, no smart alecks, nothing like that. You got to be, you know, on the ball and answer the questions and very respectful. Otherwise, big trouble. So Prabhupada says, so no humbug in his court and no upstart could stand before him. He would put people in their place if they needed it. So, right. So he would shave his head once a month. He never allowed harmonium, and he never had any debts. So at 10 o'clock the court would begin. At 1 o'clock the court would finish. So then he'd come home, bathe again, and at 2 he would go back and either hear more cases if there were, or if not, catch up with paperwork, the legal paperwork back at the court offices. Then at 5 he would be back and he would translate and this is another language, of course, from Sanskrit to Bengali. Then he would have his evening bath. So how many baths is that? That's 3. He would take his evening bath and take a meal, like sort of like the main meal really, of rice, a couple of chapatis, some vegetables, and half a quart of milk. And then he'd take rest sort of 7:30ish, 8 o'clock thereabouts. And when would he get up? 10 o'clock. So if you've been following it, you could calculate. Looks like he sleeps, there's say 2 hours, 2 and a bit from 7:30 or from 8 till 10. Then again from 4 to 4:30, so that's, what is that, maybe 2.5 to 3. 15 minutes from 9:30 to 9:45. So whatever it is. Huh? 12:45. So anyway, yeah, he'd just get a few hours sleep. Right, so while he was deputy magistrate, interesting sort of sociological point, let's not say political, but the highest an Indian could be promoted to in the government service was deputy magistrate. So there was like the magistrate who was a Britisher, but he wouldn't do anything. He'd just sort of hang out and probably drink tea or things like this. That was more like his program. He wouldn't really hear cases because the vast majority could not speak or understand Bengali. But Bhaktivinoda Thakur was multilingual. So as the deputy magistrate, he would hear cases, but sometimes he would do investigations also. And Prabhupada tells the story of his catching and trying and sentencing one yogi named Bishakishain. It's a very famous story that this Bishakishain, he was a mystical yogi. What to speak of producing a few ashes? He could really affect people's health very heavily, very severely. So Bhaktivinoda Thakur, at that time in India, there was a law that if you claim to be God and try to promote yourself as being God, it is illegal and you can be arrested. So Bhaktivinoda Thakur wanted to arrest him on those grounds. But then what he did, this Bishakishain, started promoting the idea of revolution against the British. So the British decided, we got to have this man arrested and tried and locked up. So Bhaktivinoda Thakur was sent out to do that. Prabhupada makes the point that it was illegal in India at that time to say you're God unless you were. If you were, that was fine. That was great. But if not, it was criminal. And Prabhupada makes the point that nowadays things have fallen to pieces so much that if you claim to be God, they will give you tax exemption. Yes. And I mean, who here has tax exemption? Not so many, if any. Right. Yes, so tax exemption if you claim to be God, although, invariably they're not God. Yes, right. So he had him arrested officially on the grounds that he was trying to start a revolution against the British, although in his mind it was more because he was claiming to be God. So Bhaktivinoda Thakur says that when he arrested him, all over Puri there were disturbances. At that time the Puri school had a fire and all of the people suspected him. Also at this time, his daughter Kadambini came down with fever because this Bishakishain, I'm just reading verbatim what Bhaktivinoda said, Bishakishain, by his practice of yoga, had by some means attained yogic powers, and I obtained a lot of evidence against him. For 21 days he did not eat or drink even a drop of water, but he did not show any weakness and gave unfailing cures to many people. So eventually the man was tried and found guilty and sentenced to some prison sentence, doesn't exactly say what here. And there were thousands of people like his followers gathered around the courthouse, and they were practically ready to have a riot and try to break him out. They were chanting, "Injustice, injustice." But then when he's found guilty, now he's being taken from the courtroom. He's not out yet, but being taken to the cells out the back. One young British officer who had been reading about the mystic powers of yogis and how they keep them in their hair, he rushed up behind the yogi and cut off his matted locks with a huge pair of scissors. And that yogi immediately fell on the floor and had to be carried out. Yes, so when his followers heard that he had been overcome simply by having his hair removed, they deserted him and he died in jail. Hare Krishna. So anyway, let's see. The king, because now deputy magistrate means he's also managing the Puri temple. He is like the temple president, the temple manager, and just overseeing everything in detail. So he noticed, like he was going through the accounts, he noticed that the king of Puri was taking loans from the temple to finance. He had a sort of a high lifestyle of parties and all sorts of opulences, etc. And this is what we call in English, there's sort of an English term, kind of, taking a loan on a no-return basis. He wasn't paying back the loans, and he'd paid back, he'd borrowed thousands and lakhs, which in those days, even now it's, a fair amount of money, but in those days, a lakh of rupees, it's like $1 million or something like that. So Bhaktivinoda Thakur took him to task and made a ruling that he had to pay back and set a sort of a payment system, so much per month or so. So the king decided to make a tantric yajna in the basement of the palace for 1 month, 24/7. And at the end, when the last oblations were put in the fire and the last mantras chanted, Bhaktivinoda Thakur should drop dead. But when they came to that point and the last mantras were chanted, last oblations in the fire, then Bhaktivinoda Thakur did not drop dead, but the king's oldest son dropped dead. And didn't just drop dead, he just dropped into the fire. Hari Bol. So he was, in February 1864, February the 6th, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati was born. Then Bhaktivinoda Thakur was trying to retire, or if not retire, at least get a transfer to like the Navadvip area, Krishna Nagar area, which was the main place of Lord Chaitanya's pastimes. Finally, in November 1887, he was transferred to Krishna Nagar, and he did a lot of research, and he concluded that the birthplace of Lord Chaitanya, which at that point was taken to be on the, if you're with me, western side of the Ganges, was actually on the eastern side, means where our temple is, like that. That's the eastern side. But there is, in fact, and there still is, a birthplace on the western side. So he concluded that it wasn't true, that the birthplace was on the eastern side. And just interesting little story, Prabhupada was once challenged by a reporter that, so many people say the birthplace is on the western side, and you're making your whole big development on the eastern side. Aren't you afraid you're wasting your money? And Prabhupada insisted, no. The acharyas say, scripture says, but the man was going on, but you may be wasting your money. Prabhupada pointed to some of his American disciples, and Prabhupada said, you see these men, they are Americans. Do you think they would waste their money? And the reporter agreed, yes, all right. He took that as proof. So anyway, in 1891, he, with the help of Jagannath Das Babaji Maharaj, identified the actual birthplace on the eastern side. Yes. And it was he built a temple there. It was opened in 1895. He raised all the money himself, only accepting donations of 1 rupee. And of course, some businessmen, pious businessmen, they'd say, no problem, look, I'll give you 100 rupees. But he would say, no, I don't want it, just give me 1 rupee. In this way, he built the temple single-handedly. Then he retired, he's probably retired by this time, actually. If you're familiar with the area, in 1888, he bought Surabi Kunj, where Lord Nityananda had the headquarters of his Namahata movement. And in 1894, he went to live there. In 1899, he bought Swananda Sukhada Kunj, which is like his main residence. And he lived there. That, if you're familiar with the area, is just from the Surabi Kunj. It's back a few hundred meters, 300-400 meters on the other side of the road. And he built a house there at that place, and that house is still there. And Srila Bhaktisiddhanta lived there, and yes. 1896, he sent a book in English, Lord Caitanya, His Life and Precepts, to universities and other educational institutions and so on in America. Yes. And yes. So there you go, devotees. There's some information on the life of Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur. Let me just add one thing. He predicted that soon there will be a person who will take the chanting of the holy names all over the world, and devotees from all over the world will gather in Mayapur. So this is, of course, referring to Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ke, Shri Radha Radhanath ke, Sri Giri Govardhana ke, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu ke, Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur ke. So let us all stand up and have kirtan during the arati. Someone has cooked for me, and my problem is, I have a GBC meeting. Just at 1:30, so I have to have the time before then. So I won't even what to speak of the Pushpanjali. I won't even be able to be here for the kirtan. So that's my... Did you cook it?
I cook.
Anyway, I'd
But
be...
it's all open.
It is often. Well, I'll ask Anukul Prabhu to just get a little... It's over there, right? I heard your brother passed away.
Yes.
I don't think I met him. Did I meet him?
It's possible because he was doing a lot of service. Making cup of tea.
Really?
It would have been 18 years.
Krishna. Anyway, Hare Krishna.
Krishna Vishnaya Bhutale Srimati Bhakti Vedanta Swami Ritti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nivishesha Shunyavadi Paschatanisharharine Krishna Caitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivachari Gaura Bhaktivinoda Shri Krishna Caitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivachari Gaura Bhaktivinoda Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Abhay Charanaravinda Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj, Srila Prabhupada ki. ISKCON founder Acharya Srila Prabhupada ki. Jayam Vishnupada Paramahansa Parivrajagacharya Ashtatara Shatashishimad. His Divine Grace Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Maharaj. Srila Prabhupada ki. Srila Gaurkishore Das Babaji Maharaj ki. Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur ki. The Disappearance Day of Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur ki. Anantakoti Vaishnavrinda ki. Prem se kaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda. Shadvaita Gadadhar Shivas Adigoda Bhaktivinoda ki. Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gopa Gopinath. Shyamakunda Radhakunda Giri Govardhan ki. Vrajabhumi Vrindavan Dham ki. Navadvip Mayapur Dham ki. Ganga Mai ki. Yamuna Mai ki. Bhakti Devi ki. Tulsi Devi ki. Samaveta Bhaktivinoda ki. The Disappearance Day of Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur ki. Anantakoti Vaishnavrinda ki. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to Shri Shri Guru and Gauranga.
Hare Krishna. So we'll have a Nishingadev, we'll sing Nishingadev prayers now. And thereafter, we'll ask you all to assemble at the Vyasasan where the picture of Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur is. And His Grace Ramanuja Acharya Prabhu lead us in the Pushpa Puja. After that is done, there will be the offering of the Aarti. And then everyone is invited to take prasadam at the tent at the bottom. All right? So please stay till the end. Hare Krishna.
जय श्री लक्ष्मी नरसिंह देव भगवान की, श्री प्रहलाद महाराज की। नमस्ते नर श्रृंगाय, नमस्ते नर श्रृंगाय, नमस्ते नर श्रृंगाय। प्रहलाद लाद दाहिने, हिरण्याकाशी पूर्वक्षा, श्रीलतंकानकालाय, ईतो नरसिंगा परतो नरसिंगा, यतो यतो यामि ततो नरसिंगा। बाई नरसिंगा हृदय नरसिंगा, बाई नरसिंगा हृदय नरसिंगा। नरसिंहमदें शरणं प्रपद्ये, नरसिंहमदें शरणं प्रपद्ये। तव कर कमलवरे न कमलभूत सिंगा, डालिता हिरण्यकशिपु तानु भृंगा। केशव दीर्ता नरहरि रूपा, जे जगदीश रे, ओ जे जगदीश रे, जे जगदीश रे। नवरे नखमधुत श्रृंगार नरसिंहदेव जय नरसिंहदेव नरसिंहदेव जय नरसिंहदेव जय प्रहलाद महाराज जय प्रहलाद महाराज प्रहलाद महाराज जय प्रहलाद महाराज जय जय प्रभुपाद 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 जय जय प्रभुपाद जय श्री लक्ष्मी नरसिंहदेव भगवान की, श्री प्रहलाद महाराज की, जगत गुरु श्रीला प्रभुपाद की और प्रेमानंदे।
Is this it? Everyone come in close, and I would be most appreciative if someone could give me some flowers. Please distribute the flowers from the front.
It's coming, they have only one tray, so ladies.
I see. Thank you. My other, the yellow, my mellow yellow mridanga is there too. Okay. Come. Bring the flowers here. Aha. Jaya Shri. Namo Bhaktivinodaya Sachidananda Namine Goda Shakti Swarupaya Rupanugavarayate. So we're going to throw the flowers 3 times. Hold your hands side by side. That's called a pushpanjali. When you hold you side by side. Everyone please repeat after me. Om Ajnana Timirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshur Unmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Caitanya Manobishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kada Mahyam Dadati Swa Padantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathan Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Caitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakha Anvitamscha Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swamin Iti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nivishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Iti Namine Shri Varshabhanavi Devi Daitaya Kripabdaye Krishna Sambandha Vijnana Daine Prabhave Namaha Madhurya Ujjvala Premadya Shri Rupanuga Bhaktida Shri Gaura Karuna Shakti Vigrahaya Namostute Namaste Gauravani Shri Murtaye Dinatarine Rupanuga Virudhapa Siddhanta Tvantaharine Namo Gaura Kishoraya Sakshat Vairagya Murtaye Vipralamba Rasambuddhe Padambujaya Te Namaha Namo Bhakti Vinodaya Sachidananda Namine Gaura Shakti Swarupaya Rupanuga Varayate Gauradir Bhava Bhumestvam Nideshta Sajjana Priyaha Vaishnava Sarvabhauma Shri Jagannathaya Te Namaha Vanchakalpa Tarubhyascha Krupasindhu Pya evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Namo Maha Varanyaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namni Gaura Tvishe Namaha Panchatattva Atmakam Krishnam Bhakta Rupa Swarupakam Bhaktavataram Bhaktakyam Namami Bhakta Shaktikam Hey Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta, Radha Kanta, Namostute, Tapta Kanchana, Gaurangi, Radhe, Vrindavaneshwari, Vrishabhanu, Sute Devi, Pranamami, Hari Priye, Jayatam, Suratam, Pangor, Mama Manda, Matergati, Matsarvaswa, Padambojo, Radha, Madana, Mohano, Divyad, Vrindaranya, Kalpadrumada, Shrimad, Ritnagara, Singhasanasto, Shrimad Radha, Srila Govinda Devo, Preshtalibi, Sevyamano, Smarami, Shriman, Rasa, Rasarambi, Vamshibhata, Tatastitaha, Karshana Venu, Sunaya Gopir, Gopinata, Shri Estunaha, Vrindayai, Tulsi Devyai, Priyayai, Keshavasya cha, Vishnu Bhakti, Pradevi, Satyavatyai, Namo Namaha, Jai Shri Krishna, Krishna Shri, Jai Shri Krishna, Caitanya, Prabhu, Nityananda, Shri Advaita, Gadadhara, Shivasadi, Gaura Bhakta Vrinda, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Namo Bhakti Vinodaya Sachidananda Namine Gaura Shakti Swarupaya Rupanuga Variety. Throw 1/3 of your flowers. Esha Pushpanjali. Jayam Vishnupada Paramahansa Parivrajagacharya Ashtotara Shatashishimad Bhakti Vinod Thakur Ki. Srila Sachidananda Thakur Bhakti Vinod Ki. Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur's Disappearance Day Ki. Namo Bhakti Vinodaya Sachidananda Namine Gaura Shakti Swarupaya Rupanuga Variety. 2/3 of your flowers. Esha Pushpanjali. His Divine Grace, Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur Ki. The Disappearance Day of Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur Ki. Shri Sachidananda Bhaktivinoda Thakur Ki. Namo Bhakti Vinodaya Sachidananda Namine Gaura Shakti Swarupaya Rupanuga Variety. Esha Pushpanjali. Jayam Vishnupada Paramahansa Parivrajagacharya Ashtotara Shatashishimad. His Divine Grace Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur Ki. His Divine Grace Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur Ki. Srila Sachidananda Bhaktivinoda Thakur Ki. You want to play my mridanga? It's over there. Jaya Sachidananda Thakur Bhakti Vinod. Sachidananda Thakur Bhakti Vinod. Jaya Sachidananda Thakur Bhakti Vinod. Sachidananda Thakur Bhakti Vinod. Don't play right in back of me. Jaya Jaya Gurudev, 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 Jaya Gurudev. Shri Guru Charana Padma Kevala Vaka Ti Sadama Bando Mui Sabadana Mate Jahara Prasade Bhai E Bhavatoriya Jai Krishna Prapti Hoy Jahan Hoy Te Guru Mukha Padma Bhakya Chite Te Koriya Aikya Arana Koriho Mane Asha Shri Guru Charane Rati Aise Uttama Gati Jai Prasade Pure Sarva Asha Thakudan dilo jai Janme janme Prabhu se Divya Jnana Hriday Prakashito Prema Bhakti Jaha Hoite Avidya Vinasha Jate Vede Gai Jahara Charito Shri Guru Karuna Sindhu Adama Janara Bandhu Lokanath Lokera Jivana Jivana Ha Prabhu Korodoya Deha More Pada Chaya Ebe Jash Gushuk Tribhuvana Jaya Sachidananda Thakur Bhaktivinoda Sachidananda Thakur Bhaktivinoda Jaya Jaya Gurudev 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 Jaya Gurudev Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swamin Iti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Jaya Shri Krishna Caitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhaktivinoda Jaya Shri Krishna Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Jaya Shri Krishna Caitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Chant the holy name. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Everyone sing, clap your hands, stomp your feet, do cartwheels, do somersaults. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Nitai Gaura Hari Bo, Hari Bo, Hari Bo, Gaura Hari Bo. Nitai Gaura Hari Bo, Hari Bo, Hari Bo, Gaura Hari Bo. Jayam Vishnupada Paramahansa Parivrajagacharya Ashtatara Shishimat Abhaycharana Arvinda Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj Srila Prabhupada Ki Ananta Koti Vaishnavinda Ki Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Iskhan Guru Vinda Ki Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur Ki Prem Se Kaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Giradhar Shivas Adi Gaura Bhaktivinda Ki Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gopa Gopinatha Shyamakunda Radhakunda Giri Govardhan Ki Vrajabhumi Vrindavan Dham Ki Navadip Mayapur Dham Ki Ganga Mai Ki Yamuna Mai Ki Bhakti Devi Ki Tulsi Devi Ki Samavita Bhaktivinda Ki Gaur Premanande. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to Shri Shri Guru and Gauranga. Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur Ki.
Hare Krishna. So we're greatly fortunate that we've had His Holiness Bhakti Caitanya Swami Maharaj and His Grace Ramanuja Acharya Prabhu, today both Srila Prabhupada's disciples. So let's say Haribo! And we're going to be taking prasadam now. So please, there are regular devotees here, but there are also some guests who have come for the first time. They have to rush to work, so let them go to the front of the line. Let the elderly go to the front of the line, and you can help them all. Sarira Vidya Jal, Jyotintriyata Hekal, Jiva Fele Vishaya Sagare, Tara Madhya Jivati, Loba Moy Sadarmati, Take Jeta Katina Samsare, Krishna Bharadoya Moy, Kori Bhara Jiva Jai, Swaprasadan Dilo Bhai, Say Anamrita Pavo, Radha Krishna Guna Gavo, Preme Dako Caitanya Nitai, Jai Nimai, Jai Nitai, Jai Nimai, Jai Nitai, Bhagavat Mahaprasad ke, Srila Prabhupada ke, Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur Disappearance Day Maha Mahotsava ke, Gaur Premanande, Hari Hari Bol.